Ranking number one should be your ultimate goal when it comes to Google Shopping ads. And in this video, I'm not going to show you just one way, but rather 5 different ways of increasing your rank when it comes to Google Shopping ads and actually ranking higher. Now, the main goal is not to rank one of your products or one of your variations one time within the top 5 to top 10 listings. Instead, it's about ranking multiple different products or multiple different variations which your brand sells within the top 5 to top 10. The earlier you understand this, the better your brand will scale with Google Shopping. This first way of ranking higher is outwitting your competitors. Now, you can take it a bunch of different ways. You can approach this first way of ranking higher with various different strategies. It's really dependent on what your niche is, what is needed to beat your competitors. But the number one way to outwit your competitors with Google Shopping is by focusing on things such as the product images, which makes up a large portion of your ad creative when it comes to Google Shopping. Things such as your product titles, things such as what you do in the backend in terms of the Google Merchant Center. All these things should be based around your competitors. You should not be approaching this with a one-size-fits-all approach, especially if you sell different collections within your brand. And the reason why is because if we type in the keyword 3D printer versus the keyword 3D printer filament, for example, these are two different niches, two different sub-niches. And what this means is the strategy that's going to work for this main niche or this one sub-niche, which is the 3D printer, it's not going to work for these products right here, even though it's part of the original product. And that's because competitors are doing something completely different for both of these approaches, where here you will notice a lot of lifestyle background images, the products right in your face. There's some on a black background, there's some where there's some external object within the image, so on and so forth. Whereas if you look right here, it's just the product itself. And all of these are colorful, which means your approach needs to be slightly different than what you would do right here. So outwitting your competitors simply means doing the opposite of your competitors. So for instance, if I were trying to sell 3D printers, I would take the approach of maybe having a plain background color, which is completely different from these white and grayish background color, maybe a bluish background color, or maybe I would put it out in grass so that there's a real lifestyle image aspect to the product image. And all these things are done because of what my competitors are doing. You have to understand that it's not just based on a random approach. Same thing for the product titles. Majority of these product titles, they seem to the point and fairly technical, whereas I would come in with a product title that's not only containing SEO keywords to add some perceived value for the algorithm, but also some perceived value increasing keywords such as premium, luxurious, portable, heavy duty. All these words add perceived value for the user reading this product title, which is super important. And then we go beyond the images and titles to the back end. So things such as what you do with your product pricing. Are you just doing a green colored product pricing like everybody else? Or are you doing something like Prusa Research where you're not focused on the pricing because 3 of your other competitors have that already taken care of? Instead, you're competing based on the reviews, which none of these competitors have. All these things help you outwit your competitors. And it's, again, dependent on what specific collection or what specific sub-collection you are targeting. So make sure your strategy and your approach changes as you go after different sets of products. Because again, the worst thing you can do for your brand is set a one-size-fits-all approach. But this brings us to the second way of ranking higher with Google Shopping, which is focusing on smart bidding. Now, smart bidding on a very granular level is not just as simply running performance max campaigns on target ROAS or target CPA, or for that matter, any campaign on target ROAS or target CPA options. It goes a bit beyond. What you want to understand is when you do smart bidding, you're essentially using the internal algorithm and all of its code to determine your bids. So if you have a brand where you're focused heavily on manual bidding, these bids you set for these campaigns, they're essentially guessing. There's no concrete detail, concrete evidence from the back end, which lets you know what the bid should be. And if you just set a random arbitrary number as a bid with standard shopping or any other campaign type out there, what's going to happen is the algorithm will try to bid as closely as possible to that number, especially if it's a high number, because the algorithm wants to make as much money for the Google Ads platform, not for you. So nowadays, I'm always going after smart bidding because I want more automation across multiple products. That's kind of the approach we take for a lot of the brands we handle channel under my Google Ads agency or marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But third thing that's going to increase your ranking with Google Shopping drastically is product feed optimizations. Now, first things first, when it comes to the product feed, it's not as simple as just going in the back end, choosing product key identifiers, labeling the category, and that's it, you're done. It goes a bit beyond that. The second thing you need to do is have proper keywords in place, not only for titles, but also for descriptions. And I've made a great video on keyword research, which you can check out here. It's on my YouTube channel, but you want to ensure you have the right kinds of keywords and you're subtracting keywords if they're not working. This brings me to the fourth way of increasing your ranking with Google Shopping, which is external campaigns. Now, what most brands do is, because they know shopping campaigns, Performance Max, Search, YouTube are going to get them sales, they just rely on those campaigns for scale. That's it. They don't really go beyond the horizon. They don't think outside the box to launch demand gen campaigns or specific types of display campaigns or specific types of search campaigns, which can all add brand awareness to your top performing keywords. Because the more traffic you get for any specific keyword from Google Ads, the more Google will reward you with even more quality traffic for that specific keyword. So let's say you're going after the keyword 3D printer and it has 1 million searches a month. Well, if you're just starting to go after that keyword, you're just going after shopping ads with that keyword within your titles, descriptions, etc., there's a very low chance you're going to end up ranking in the top 5 to top 10 because you have big competitors like these who have been there for months, years, spending millions of dollars on it. So what you need to do to kind of bypass all of that time is to launch other campaign types which also target this keyword, because keep in mind, these campaign types will now drive a lot of traffic, even if it's low quality, it doesn't matter, to that keyword, because then Google will notice this increase in traffic for your brand for that keyword, and it will automatically help you win more auctions, even for higher quality audiences, especially with Google Shopping. The final way to increase your ranking with Google Shopping is by adding power to the auctions. Now, most brands, they will run smart bidding and they will just run it with one specific type of product and with one campaign, maybe Performance Max, and that's the only place that product will be in there. Now, this is great because this is going to help with segregation. It's going to keep things separate from each other, prevent overlap, etc. However, it's not helping you rank higher. If your main goal is to rank higher with Google Shopping, you need to have more power in the auctions. Instead of your product going inside the auction only one time, it needs to be going in there 2 times at least. And the way to do this is by having a smart bidding based approach, where one smart bidding campaign or approach is based around a medium power strategy, meaning this has like a restriction, like a target ROAS or target CPA, which matches what your account has been getting in the last 30 to 60 days. So for example, let's say your average ROAS for the last 60 days on your account is a 5x. Well, within this PMAX, that's the restriction you would set of 5x, and then you would have that product in there. However, now to add more power to the auction, we're going to launch another smart bidding based strategy and approach where now the only thing that changes is the restriction. It will be 2 times to 3 times that of your average. So this second campaign with the higher ROAS target, it's going to bid very, very low because you have set very high restrictions on it, and it's going to enter that same auction as the first one, but it's only going to get the highest quality of traffic possible within that auction without really causing any overlap. And there's no overlap here because the bids are so different from each other. All of these 5 ways regardless will help you, because I know they do for the brands we work with, which again, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling it to the next level with Google Ads. Go to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen.